My name is Rob Gordon, and this is the 5th virtual co-working session we're doing on the entrepreneurs community. And today I am with Joe. Joe, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so why don't you say
well,
hi?
the U is silent, but nobody can pronounce it unless you took Spanish.
Okay, I did not.
And it's Guerra, but it's Guerra is okay.
I can't roll R's. I never knew that
when I was young. It's a learned thing.
Let me explain just the program really briefly, because this is going to be a super, I tend to be long-winded, so I might be lying here, but this is going to be a super short public HOA. We're just going to introduce ourselves, our projects, and we're going to meet privately. The idea behind virtual co-working is sort of similar to real-world co-working, but we're trying to cut off the best benefit of that, which I think is when you're kind of working around a bunch of people, you take a break from your own stuff and you lean over some guy's cubicle or workspace and you say, "Hey, Joe, what are you working on?" And here I happen to be working with the Joe. That's basically what this is. We're just like, we're all self-employed entrepreneurs. We work alone a lot, or at least I do. It's nice to talk with other people, compare notes, I call it sometimes. It really helps the creative process. You get different ideas. If this had been a more formal session, we might be doing screen shares. So everybody would share a screen for like a minute or two and, just talk for a minute or two. And then we'd still go into a private session. So it's a hybrid public HOA, private hangout session. If you want to do one, just let us know. I want to keep them fairly small, probably no more than 4 or 5 people. But if you just want to do one-on-one with me or with somebody else you meet through the program, by all means, just let us know. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Joe, because we're going to do we're going to do a little virtual co-working today. And I want to learn more about her. She's a marketing person. I need some marketing help. So Joe, why don't you tell us about yourself and your current projects and your business?
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
Okay, so I still can hear an echo on my side.
You sound fine here. You sound fine.
Okay, and your the quality of the picture that I'm seeing for you isn't that good. I don't know if it's my computer or.
Yeah, I would rather not emphasize that, because that's what happened on the first one. We spent the whole time talking about how bad the quality is. So if we can, maybe we'll have a special hangout about how bad the quality is.
I guess it is the thing of the hangout. So anyway, I'm in the Denver area, and I originally started doing social media for a lot of people, but I had also done my own website many years ago. In fact, I've been online since 1996, really. That was my very first website. But it was really hard whenever I wanted to update it. I always had to hire somebody to update it. And so eventually, when I found WordPress and I found TypePad at first, I loved it because you could do everything on the fly. Everything was simple. So I've veered over to just creating WordPress sites, and that's the majority of what I do. Also do consulting, because I've had a business for many, many years. I was an importer before that, and just veered over to not traveling anymore and being at home a lot, like you said, because I do work out of my home.
Yeah. Can I ask how you get new clients? Because that's one of the main reasons I want to talk to you today. And yeah. I think you have some ideas for me. You mentioned. I know you're not supposed to say you're bad at things, because then it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I don't want to say I'm bad at marketing, but I'm bad at marketing.
Well, yeah.
So give me an idea. How do you get new clients? What is your trick?
I do a few things. First of all, I do a lot of blogging. And since I've been blogging forever, that brings people into my funnel, where all of a sudden, they're ready to convert and be a customer. But the other thing I do is I actually do a lot of personal networking in the Denver area. So I belong to 2 Chamber of Commerces here in town, and I'm out a lot.
Okay, we are getting a little bit of an echo here. We don't want to dwell on that. Okay, just a little brief about what I'm doing. I'm a project manager by profession. I had a long career as a project manager. I am getting gigs again now, so that's kind of the good news.
Okay.
Some of you might have seen that special offer I put on for $250 for 10 hours of consulting work. That's actually working, and I like it because even though it's really, really lowballed to the point of no profitability, really. I like it because I can more or less guarantee people a success. You know, for a project to fail, they have to try it to make it fail. So that much is work, but I really need to get that pipeline filled. I need to get more. So I'm looking forward. I know Jo had some ideas for me. She might talk about the entrepreneurs community. I'd like to show her my World Startup site. I'm still trying to get ideas on that. I have my own brand, Action Planning Associates, that I'm looking at. So, you know, I think Jo mentioned to me, and maybe you can weigh in a bunch more before we go private on this, Jo, but maybe you kind of saw a little bit what I'm struggling with. You mentioned creative professionals always are kind of a mess. And by coincidence, for another associate, I'm writing a blog post now about creative professionals. And they're not just artists, they're not just graphic designers. They're in a lot of different professionals. And what they seem to have in common is a lot of unfinished projects. Jo, do you concur, or do you want to add something else to that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually ended up hiring a coach because like when I have projects that I'm working on and I'm not getting my own stuff done, I feel bad. I may have to call you back if it.
No, do not do that.
No, I'm not going to right this minute.
Okay.
But that before, when we do have a private, you know, conversation.
Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. No,
Okay.
You did that in one of our hangouts now. You said a lot of times you can never make it back.
Okay.
That's the reason I panicked a little bit there.
So
I saw you reaching for the button.
No, I was just trying to put the volume lower. So yes, I do think that as creative professionals, we are sometimes all over the place. Our conversations are not normal conversations because we tend to give us, you know, tell everybody the whole story where sometimes that individual may not want the whole story.
Oh yeah, even on some of these hangouts, I've sounded totally disjointed because I try to tell all my projects at one time. It doesn't work. It's just like this, you know, people probably think this guy's crazy. And some are really cool projects, but you know, people can only absorb so much information.
Right, but I think that's a sign of a creative mind. And I know when I meet with people and they, I'm asking them questions, you know, it's a prospect, and they are all over the place, then I know that they're very creative.
Yeah. There is a book I read, and in this blog post I'm writing for an associate, I covered this. It's by Belsky, and he was the founder. Oh, and I'm forgetting the name. It's a website that provides services for creative professionals. I'm forgetting the name of it, but the CEO is Belsky something. Belsky's his last name, and he talks about what he calls a creative plateau. This is why I thought it was interesting that you hired a coach, because maybe I should do that, or maybe make some barter arrangements to get a coach. He talks about what he calls the project plateau. And what he means by that is when you get a new idea for a project, you've got all this energy, you're really excited about it, you work on it. You get ideas, you get other people involved, but then that energy starts waning. This is inevitable. And he says the real danger with creative professionals is what happens is you get some new idea. Some shiny new object shows up in your life. And then you start working on that, and the first damn project ended up dead. Because you've got to get through that plateau. You've got to keep pushing through that boring part. Then the energy starts picking up a little bit more. You realize, well, you know, I'm making a little bit of traction here. Make any sense, Jo?
Pardon me?
I said, does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
Okay.
Okay. I remember a photographer years ago, so talented, and yet every time she turned around, she was doing something else instead of concentrating on the photography. So yes, that makes a lot of sense.
And you said another really good point. Whenever you're working on client projects, you kind of start to worry that you stopped working on your own. And I really have that disease also. because I have no choice but to do a really good job for my clients right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've heard that, you know, I read endless amounts of self-help material, so much that I think it's probably doing me damage now. But one tip I heard that somebody said is, you know, a lot of people say the most important first thing in the morning. One guy, it might have been an executive someplace, he says, work on your own project first thing in the morning. He's give that your first time. There's all sorts of interesting tips like that, and I think we should probably have a separate hangout to discuss that. But listen, I have promised this was going to be short. I don't want to break those promises. I'm always breaking it. I want to have a private meeting with you, Joe. So, do you have any last words you'd like to tell people about your business?
Yeah, no, I just thought that was interesting that he said to work first thing in the morning. I actually try to work on my projects either in the evening or on the weekend. And that just seems to be when I feel good about working on them, because I'm not going to feel guilty at that time. So I've given myself permission to work on them when I'm working on the weekends on my own stuff. I'm
almost exactly the same. You know, it's so funny that for self-employed people like us, where weekends don't necessarily mean that much. We still kind of honor them. But we still have different work habits, almost all of us, right?
Oh, it's some habits are not good, like staying up too late at night sometimes.
Yeah, I'm a night bird myself. Well, listen, let me close out the public part of this. This is just a brief taste of a virtual co-working session. Let us know if you want to do one. I think we got something cool here. We can get them going. We can meet each other. We want these to be less formal instead of more formal. In other words, you know, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Let's just schedule them and do them. I'll do several a week. I'll do one-on-ones if people want. So, you know, it's just being realized, the more of us small business entrepreneurs that know each other and work together, the better. And that can be a little time consuming. It takes a while to get to know what makes people tick. But the more we know, the more people we know, the more we'll eventually figure out ways to help each other. And that's sort of what this is about. We're just something we're trying. Find us on the entrepreneurs community, or reach out to me or Joe or anybody. And let's just do them. Let's just meet, talk, compare notes. You know, this is a roll up your sleeves and work session is basically what we're doing. We used to have these small business coffee hours, and coffee breaks. We're still going to do that. But that was kind of the fun. And the idea of this is, hey, we're working. We'll stop and talk a little bit. And then we're going to roll up our sleeves and work a little bit more. Do some screen shares, whatever. So again, that's my spiel. This is the Virtual Entrepreneurs Virtual Co-working program. Feel free to join us. And Joe and I are going to meet now. So hope to meet you soon. Thank you.